in the recording.
Is Jeannie on?
Yes.
I'm on.
Okay, good. I got your text. Okay.
Yeah,
I just started my
I don't-
video.
I don't see you, John.
Turn your video on, John.
All righty.
Oh, it looks like we have a few guests.
We have a few. We had a lot of competition.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I just finished the church service. And if I didn't have to be here, there were like 2 or 3 things.
I know there were several things.
Yeah. But it was an Earth Day theme at our service. So there was some follow-up environmental programming and things like that.
Nice.
Great.
Ew.
Well, I want to.
Lisa, I like your background.
You like my wall, John?
I
John-
do.
John's the one who suggested how to hang them up, and then we did a whole wall thing with it. So it's real easy. It's just mats and little paper clips hanging on the chains.
Oh, okay. I got some of these, they're supposed to be this little white sticky stuff you pull on and off of your wall.
Uh-huh.
Only I got the budget version when I was up at Plaza Art. It's budget because it pulls part of the wall off.
Oh, wow.
So it's like I've got a hodgepodge of stuff still hanging because I don't want to ruin the wall and some marks. So.
Yeah, this is just, if you can see, there's a board that I put into the wall up at the top, and then I have chains coming down from it.
Well, I
and
see.
then- And
Yeah,
then
That's
you
the
can
latest
move them
thing.
around real easy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that idea.
Well, ladies, I can see how your 6 Zooming artists go from week to week. It's just rich with idea sharing and critiquing, and so let's let everybody else in on that, either presently or virtually when they watch the recording, should they choose to. So I'm Deb Boudra. I've been volunteering for the gallery 333 for about 33 years. Let's keep that number 3 going. And I've had a chance to meet so many incredible folks. So this,
That is Karen.
you either mute yourself or be aware.
Right here.
So this is 6 Zooming artists, and I'm going to jump right in and introduce you to them one at a time, and we will attempt to share the screen. Please pardon me. My
Yeah, you don't have to lean over into that.
bailiwick is art, not Dennis, undisable the screen sharing, or else go and share the screen yourself. Is Dennis there? Ah, yes, I see you, Dennis. Okay.
Working on it, Deb. Hold on.
Okay, sure. We'll hang in there.
You want me to allow you to screen share, right?
Yes.
Actually, what I'm going to do is,
There's no
Thank you.
guarantee that because you shared the screen for me, I can get to where I need to go, but I'm going to try.
you are now co-host.
All right, let's see. Still says you're disabled. Maybe I was too quick. Here we go. And
Yeah.
Yeah, she's,
what I'm trying to do is get to the there it is. Okay, so here's our gallery page for those of you that have tried to visit. And it's not moving forward for me. That's a problem. Remember when we said during the practice that you would have your paintings close by to hold up? I think that's what we're going to do,
Okay.
unless I can move you. There we go. I've moved your images over. There we go. Okay, so if someone is trying to find the gallery, you're going to look under worship, move to the arts, go to gallery 333 current show, and you will always be able to view the show. If you want to send someone to see the video at a later time, under videos, you will find a video of this Meet the Artist activity. If someone wants purchased, we go to giving, donate to UUCA, and under that, I hope I can go backwards. You'll find donation to the church. Click there. To ID the contribution, and we are towards the bottom, but it says art gallery income. The optional memo would be the painting's name and the artist's name. One puts one's email address in and the amount. It's pretty self-explanatory from there. Okay, so we're going to go back to our art gallery show.
I disabled waiting.
And are we seeing this? Is everyone seeing the art gallery show?
Yes,
It's coming up.
It's coming up, yes, okay. So
there we are.
There we are. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Jeannie Crawford first. She's a 5th generation Annapolitan who has lived in or near Eastport all of her life. And after being very busy for so long, the pandemic has given her time to have fun and experiment. So Jeannie, you said you don't like to follow the rules. Which painting felt the most exhilarating or daring to create?
Well, I would say, can they see me or not?
Yes.
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 Well, I had a lot of fun doing this one. I love Clint, and I watched a video on somebody who painted with a different style. And this one is layered with different acrylics and then scratched out. So the colors you see are all scratched out. So it was different. And I like doing different things. I followed the rules too long in my life. And I decided at this age, I wanted freedom. I have here a whole huge binder of things I've received from art lessons. And I read them and I learn them, most of them, but I don't use them all the time because I have this thing where I want to do it my way. And I paint in a very loose way. So, and I love this little thing that I have hanging up in my house, which is paint outside the lines or color outside the lines. And that's what I like. I love doing it. I'm not doing it to sell it. I'm doing it for my own fun and enjoyment. And it really helped me get through the pandemic. I painted pretty much every day. And that in our group really helped me get through a year in the house. Any questions?
This is really nice.
I apologize for the lag in my attempts to move through the picture. So you saw quite a bit of jumping around there. I apologize.
Well, that's the one that's all layered, and all those colors are layers underneath layers that you kind of scratch out even with alcohol. And then some things are painted on top, but it took me a long time to do it. And I enjoyed every bit because it was something different.
It is really evident that you like to paint outside the box, that you like to have some fun with
I
what
think
you're doing.
I think my teammates know that about me.
Absolutely.
That's got to be inspiring and egg others on to get a little bit outside their comfort zone as well. So,
I don't know. I think it aggravates them. I don't paint straight lines, but anyway.
Not at all. It helps us to see things differently. And I think that's one of the beauties of our group. We're a very diverse group, and each brings a different perspective. So, and fortunately, the feedback is very kind.
Yes, yes.
Well, creativity can't happen under duress, that's for sure.
Yes.
All right, I am going to introduce Lisa McKnight, and thank you, my computer, for moving forward when I asked you to. Lisa strives to capture the personality and unique features of each subject through closely observed and rendered detail. So Lisa, tell us about the inspiration for your two pieces titled Sherpani Strong and She Who Perseveres.
Yeah, I do a lot of animals and drawings, and I find that as I am doing them, I really learn to see them and see aspects of them that I might not otherwise notice. It really causes me to almost meditate on what my subject is. So when I was doing these portraits, like the She Who Perseveres, I really, they're sort of archetypes. They're not individual people, these two at any rate, but they're just older women who, by the way they look, they express their lives. And I felt like I sort of get to know that person as I was working on the paintings, and that's an aspect you really have to slow down and focus on them, and it's almost an intimacy that I get by looking at them and feeling like I can kind of express their lives and what who they are, that their lives have made them. So that's something I really enjoy as I work on whether it's a chickadee or a person or just anything. It's I see things that I wouldn't otherwise see.
It's a meditation almost, but it's definitely a map to their life. You do capture quite a bit of water under the bridge, life lived. Look at those faces.
Mm.
Oh,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry, but it was really hard for
Laura
Yep.
North,
Yes, hi.
hi. I understand you minored in art in college, but never pursued it until retirement. You're now able to combine your two interests, which are nature and watercolor. Nature is really an inspiration for you, clearly. Which is your favorite work from this show, and why is that?
Well, good, beautiful morning. Speaking of the outdoors, I've just been looking out the window and enjoying it. And Deb, thanks for pulling this together for us. I had a hard time choosing because the ones that I entered into this show all have some special meaning to me. But if I had to choose one, it would be this one, the one you have up now, Meet Me in the Arbor. And it has a lot of appeal to me for a variety of different reasons. I guess green is probably my favorite color, probably because of the outdoors. I use it a lot in my home, and it's actually like a neutral for me. So when I saw this photograph, it was very appealing to me, but also quite challenging because you're not using a lot of color. You're using a very limited palette of blues and yellows and greens and a little bit of red. And the challenge was to make this space come alive through the colors, the subtleties in the colors, and create shapes. The perspective and the lighting were also incredibly important. And I wanted to draw the viewer in to this, what I think is almost like a magical space. So it appeals to me because those main things, the colors, the outdoors, the lighting, but also from an emotional place. When I was a kid, my great-grandmother had an arbor. And as kids, we would go in and we would hide and we would play. And it became very intriguing, magical, a little mysterious. So I guess it really has both the aesthetic value and the challenge, as well as an emotional value for me.
A meaningful.
Yes.
There
Yes.
would be, I would expect, a non-artist's question as they search and search and search for the red in your painting. A need to explain how red is used to create greens.
Well, the red was really more in the arbor frame itself. You can, you used blue, you used yellow. When you add the red to it, it almost makes a brown, or it can make a little bit of purple. So if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it in the photograph. I don't know if I hold it up.
Here, how about this? Is that little arrow showing?
Yes. So yes, down in there, and also in this, I don't know if I can show you, in this space over in here, you see a little bit of red coming through. So it was limited, but through those colors, you were able to pull out some differentiation. Down here, there's also the red and blue almost makes a little bit of purple.
In the shadows.
Yeah, in the shadows.
I didn't mean to get us so deeply in the color mixing, but I suspected that if someone heard the word red, they would have been looking for a screaming
Right,
splotch
right.
somewhere. And
Right.
that is not how an artist always uses red.
Correct.
Often it's used to mute or brown or create some depth to an otherwise flat black iron framework. Which doesn't look flat or uninteresting at all in this painting.
I also like that there are some, I don't know if you can see those pods or seed pods or whatever they are up at the top of the frame.
Here in this area?
No, if you look closely in through here, you can see these round objects hanging.
Yeah, we have to look in this area here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And at first look, I didn't see those. So it was kind of fun to like Lisa said, really look in it deeply and find all the subtleties to it that enrich the painting.
I'm not good with names, so I can't tell you which artist said it, but he said, I've never seen anything until I painted it.
Right, so true.
We're going to scroll through Laura's pieces. And I want to take this moment while I'm scrolling through the park. This show is only up until the end of March. So if anything appeals to you that is not already marked sold, please be sure to take action on that if you so desire in a timely fashion.
Do you mean the end of April?
I do mean the end of April. Thank you very much. I'm either living 2 weeks ahead or 2 weeks behind all the time. All right, Diane, hi.
Hello.
Thank you for pulling this together because you approached me with this idea and I thought it was fascinating to have a group of artists that formed on their own during the pandemic and survived it together. So you have moved from an admirer and collector of watercolor to a student of watercolor. And first at Maryland Hall and then due to COVID online with this group of artists. Also online with notable artists training from Maryland and New York. What attracted you to the subject of your piece, Untold Stories? Tell us that story.
This was actually a photograph that Jeannie brought back from a vacation, I think was it Pennsylvania or New York State. And it was just this old house type building that has obviously, you know, had a life before, seen better days. And what I liked about it is part of my job before I retired was doing historical reviews, archaeology, for the area where we might be doing a project. And a lot of times as the historians and the different folks look back into the history of things, there were stories just beyond what you'd ever imagine for a farm site or from the house or different things. And that's what attracted me to this. It's obviously seen better days, but it also, you know, housed and had stories to tell. I also found this one challenging because it's just with some ink to highlight the boundaries, the borders of the doorway or the windows. But instead of color, had to use just a wash and the shadowing and the dark and light of the grays and the darker color to show the differences between the windows and the doors, the ground, the rocks, and what have you. So that was a lot of fun. What's been great about working with this group, it's been probably close to a year we started, is we were all taking lessons together. And my first lesson was the first time I actually owned a paintbrush or a tube of paint. I took the supply list over to Art Things and handed it to the woman to help me pick out what I needed. And from there, it just took off. So the lessons I had at Maryland Hall really provided a foundation for color mixing, for seeing things, as a number of people have mentioned, finding, you know, not just what hits your eye the first time, but all the little subtleties of a picture that you're going to paint. So that part was great. But what's been nice about our group is we each have to pick our own topic or what we're going to paint next. And I also found that challenging because in the lessons, our instructors would give us what we wanted to paint. So left on my own, it's like, the world was available to paint. So as you say, when you develop an eye for things, now I start looking at things. We took a drive down to Shadyside a week or two ago, and I had to stop and pull over to take some pictures of old barns and houses. So I think I'm leaning in this old structures approach to things for a little while.
I think we need a bumper sticker that says, "Do not follow closely, artist photographing topics."
That's where we were on like Muddy Creek Road or Muddy Branch Road and where we were, because there are very few places to pull over. So
Yeah.
the support of this group, as Jeannie said, the last year has not only kept me painting, but just expanded my view and skills at painting. I mean, we've got great diversity, as you can see, with each of our approaches to watercolor and, throwing a little mixed media. So been a lot of fun and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Look forward to, I don't know if we ever want to get back to the classes in person. We're doing.
You found something that works, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great group. I'm jealous. You have also illustrated another quote I have nobody to attribute it to, which was that color gets all the credit, but value does all the work. And
Yes.
Yeah.
put that to work.
Yes.
In this.
And the painting I'm highlighting is definitely all about values.
Yes, and
Yes.
value is going to, give us the foundation for everything we do with color. Oh, sorry, putting my teaching hat on. Sorry. Let's see if I can scroll a little more effectively for Karen. I apologize for the lag in my my computer as it's trying to do things. It's an old computer, so it's doing the best it can, with an old operator also doing the best it can. Karen, you majored in art history at GW and studied watercolor and Chinese brush painting throughout your life. You love the challenge of working with fluidity and transparency in watercolor, and that is apparent as well. In Coastal Lighthouse, lighting seems important. Can you tell us what you were inspired to convey and how you accomplished that? And I'll see if I can get to it for us.
Sure. Well, I think one of the first things, this is Coastal Lighthouse, and one of the first things that an artist is challenged to do is to how to use the light in a painting, because that makes all the difference. And I wanted to first give a consistent light source, which helps to define the architecture of the lighthouse, as well as the rocks and the other subjects in the background. So if we did not have light and dark, you would not, the lighthouse would appear flat. The rocks would appear flat. So using the light and dark to sculpt the subject matter per se. So that's one of the first things about using the contrast of light and dark. You can see how the lighthouse pops out because of the dark trees around it. So by contrasting the light and dark, it helps to create the focal point of the painting and can really pop it out. The second place you see the difference in light and dark is obviously the rocks and the more sandy dirt cliffs. So you can then use light and dark to lead your eye around the painting if you follow the line between the light and dark of the cliffs up to the lighthouse and then around to the sky and back down. So that can also be a way of using light and dark contrast. I would say that another way that we use light and dark in paintings, not so much in this one, is leading the eye back into the painting and then forward. Sometimes the foreground is quite dark, the middle ground is a middle value, and the background is much lighter to give a sense of depth. And sometimes artists reverse that depending on what they're trying to create. But overall, the contrast of light and dark and the values that are in the color create contrast that really help to pop things out in your painting.
I think learning a little bit from you about how to look at a painting is enlightening. The idea that an artist never saw anything until they painted it can also be true about the viewer of the art. If you allow the painter to draw you in and pull you around through the painting, you'll have all kinds of little delightful surprises and sky holes in the trees and sparkles of light here and there and details you didn't see on first look. So anyone that can walk through a gallery and catch everything in there in 2 minutes is not really seeing what was being offered.
Sure.
Stopping and looking at that light and letting it draw you through the painting in and out, around 2 or 3 times gets you a chance to really see the delights that were being offered. I want to thank you, Karen.
Sure.
And
Thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to display our work. It's been wonderful to share our paintings with each other, but this is another forum for us to share our art with others. So thank you for that.
Yes, and many people have enjoyed the sharing so much. I have to point out that our administrator, office manager, has not been at work on the weekend, not surprisingly. And so since this painting sold last night, I have to just put out that it is now sold and it will be marked sold on Monday morning. Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
John Weeder is our 6th of the Zooming artists. And we'll scroll a little bit through his work. John is a resident of Edgewater, Maryland, and watercolor painting is a passion that has no end for him. He too has a style that revels in detail. As you can see by our little trip through the exhibit, there's some detail for you. There was this subject matter, and I wanted to know what attracted you, John, to the Waterman's subject matter. How did you choose to convey him?
Well, And by the way, let me echo what everyone else has said. Thanks very much for doing this. The Waterman, if I think back to when I was a young boy, growing up, Westerns were very popular, at least for me. And there was a certain romanticization that that existed within the character of a cowboy. And when I saw this image, it was a photograph that Jay Fleming, a local photographer, had done of a waterman from Tylerton, Maryland, a crabber. When I saw it, I just kept staring at it. And in it, I saw the same kinds of things that I had in my romanticized version of a cowboy back when I was a boy. I mean, there's an honesty, I interpret it to have some honesty, a stoicness, a weatheredness, a trustworthiness, tiredness, and almost like the John Wayne of crabbers, if you will. And so as I as I started to get into it, just as Lisa talked about how when you paint, especially if you're painting a portrait, and you don't really know the individual, in order to be somewhat successful in painting the image, you have to imagine that you know the individual and bring forward those things that you think really speak to who the individual is, so that the look in the eye says it all. I mean, for me, even the dirty, soiled John Deere hat kind of like, further adds to that picture of strength and pride and know-how.
Yeah, you really conveyed that whole message, but having the eyes in the shadow of the cap is such a haunting looking out at us that it's very impressive to use that light and shadow that we happen to be talking about again, to help convey all these qualities that you put into this fellow that you don't know, but got to know very well. It's an amazing painting.
Thank you.
And an amazing group. I want to just thank you all so much for coming forward to this, and please stay associated with the gallery and keep your eye out for future calls, because we're going to try to become a little bit more focused on themes in the future. So I want to thank you all again. Enjoy your last few weeks. Here's another piece of John's work on our way out. And I shall say farewell unless anyone has any questions.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a question because I had to step out and I missed the front part. Will this be on so we can watch it again?
Yes, it's being recorded and it will be sent forward to the administrative officewoman to put on the website as soon as possible. I would expect maybe sometime by the end of Tuesday. And I don't know if I'm able to get back to the main screen. There we go. So if you're sending people in, again, it's under worship to the arts. There's the current show, but videos is also mentioned. Now it might say current show video. I'm not sure how she'll title it or head it, but I think you'll be able to figure it out. These are past videos of shows earlier this year. We didn't start doing this until January, or was it November, December? It might have been November, December. So you can see those as well, but people should not have too much trouble if you send them to uuannapolis.org/gallery333, and then under worship, which I love. I love that our arts is under worship, because don't we as artists feel like that's what we're doing? when we paint. We elevate something to the point of showing our worship or our value to those things. So here we are, Gallery 333 current show. And again, in there somewhere, you're going to see the video that might say current show, probably. Okay, any other
Great.
questions? Any other questions? I bid you all a wonderful day in the spring weather and happy painting.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Deb.
Deb, for putting it
Thank you.
together.
Thank you.
See you
Yeah,
guys tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.